Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to Renewed Minds. I have three, why do I keep saying four? Three lovely people today. So they're just going to say hi and just introduce themselves. So let's start with the first lady of the house.
Hi, Ngozi here.
Good afternoon.
Carlos, a sign in the house.
Hey guys, Simeon.
Bank at. So don't forget to add that. Anyways, today we're going to talk about something very, should I call it controversial? Do you think it is? Kinda.
Kind of.
I think it's a topic that people are just in between. So we're going to be discussing about two worlds, one choice, kingdom living over secular lifestyle. So I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I was like, okay, you know what, let's talk about this. And I said, okay, how do we narrow it down? Let's talk about secular music and alcohol. So I wanted to get everybody's views on it. Do we think it's bad as believers? Should we be drinking? Should we be listening to secular music? So I just think maybe we could take turns, and then if anybody has anything to say, we can just interject. It's no problem. Like I said, it's just just speak how you feel. No condemnation here. So who wants to go first? Anybody?
I think Esan should go first.
You don't want to be first. Why? You want to be number 3. Why?
Okay, since I'm the only lady, let me go first.
Yes.
Okay. I think let me start with alcohol.
Yeah.
The big question is drinking a sin?
Yeah.
Is consumption of alcohol a sin? Personally, I don't think consumption of alcohol in itself is a sin. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, there's anywhere written in the Bible that drinking alcohol is a sin. So I think what the sin is what alcohol makes you do.
Okay.
So like every other thing, consumption in excess is where you have a problem.
Yeah.
Because, if drinking was a sin, I don't think Jesus would have turned water to wine.
But they say, do we know if it was alcoholic or non-alcoholic?
Oh,
Have you heard that say?
There was no such thing as non-alcoholic then.
There was no fruit
such
juice
thing.
then, so-
No, but
As
you know,
non-alcoholic
if
then.
grape is not fermented, it's just grape juice. It's only when it's fermented that it becomes alcohol. So how do we know?
In those days, there was no
At a wedding.
At a
and
wedding.
the king was
And the
enjoying
king
the
was
wine.
enjoying
You think
the
he was
wine.
enjoying fresh fruit? I don't think so.
So I think the problem is what alcohol makes people do. The excess alcohol, excess consumption will make you sin.
Yeah.
Right? Will make you do stuff. And then I know, the Bible says our body is the temple of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
And then desecrating this body is not right. So excessive intake of alcohol is desecrating the body. Why? Because it affects your liver.
Yeah.
You understand? So you're also messing with the temple of the Holy Spirit. But just drinking, I don't think anybody should be condemned because I have a glass of wine with dinner, or once I go for an occasion and I'm offered some wine, I have a glass of wine.
Okay.
I personally don't have a taste for alcohol anymore.
Okay.
I'll use the word anymore because
I can relate.
you can relate.
Oh, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yes, I have a past. Everybody has a past.
Exactly.
I've had a state of drunkenness named after me.
Yeah.
That's how bad it got. But I think the mistake we make, and I blame religion for this, is trying to get people to stop doing stuff. Don't drink, stop drinking, stop smoking, stop doing this, stop doing that. If people could stop by their power, I don't think it won't be a problem.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been a problem in the first place.
Yeah.
So I think I would use my own experience.
Okay.
I think I went from one extreme to one extreme.
Yeah.
When I got born again, I didn't stop drinking immediately I got born again. I didn't stop drinking immediately I got born again. It was more like it was a process. For me. And I didn't have people, telling me you're sinning. What you're doing is a sin. Don't drink is a sin. The more you do that, what you're just doing is magnifying my sin consciousness.
Yeah.
So I think it was the process of growing and maturing, and I just realized, I don't like this thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't because anybody told me you have to do this to be born again.
Yeah.
Or you have to, you cannot drink alcohol because you're born again, or you need to not drink alcohol to go to heaven, or stuff like that, which is the false narrative out there.
Yeah.
I just matured and got to a place where I didn't want to drink.
Yeah.
Not because I felt it's a sin or it's bad, but because I didn't like it anymore.
Yeah.
I just lost the taste for it. I have bad experiences with wine, so I don't even like wine. So I drank spirits.
Yeah.
And lager. But right now, it doesn't taste nice to me anymore. All right? And I wonder, why did this never taste good to me?
Yeah.
So for me, I think it should be allow everybody their process.
Yeah.
All right? And for the fact somebody has a bottle of wine in his fridge and takes a glass of wine. I mean, I've been in a marriage counseling where a highly respected man of God asked my husband to, take a glass of wine at night to relax.
Yeah.
You understand? He's not getting drunk
Yeah.
and misbehaving outside. So I personally, I don't think drinking alcohol
Is a sin. Okay.
It's just like every other thing.
Yeah.
Moderate it. Don't consume in excess, because then you lose your inhibitions and then you will probably sin.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes,
and
it
you will
does.
probably misrepresent the kingdom
Yes.
when you're not composed.
Yeah.
And then if you want people, a lot of people, I like I said, everybody has their process.
Yeah.
As you're growing, you tend to lose taste for these things. That's the truth.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah.
The deeper you delve into, this kingdom living and maturity and, changing your mindset, you just tend to lose taste for some things. And of course, Pastor has explained why. Because the nature that is now on your inside, doesn't do those things. So
Yeah.
you're just, it's no longer from a place of condemnation. I think that's what people should stop doing.
Yeah.
Stop condemning people that are doing what you believe is not right. Because who made you the
Judge.
harbinger of right? You understand?
Yeah.
Who made you the judge?
Yeah.
So God is not condemning them. So why are you condemning them? And have you noticed that the more you condemn people, the deeper they fall
Yeah.
into that pit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just love people and let them, have their own process.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my own take.
Okay.
Especially when it comes to alcohol consumption.
Okay. Let's finish alcohol, then we can now do secular music. I can't wait for that.
Okay.
But, Simi, what do you think?
Okay, so first of all, I agree with everything Ngozi has said.
Yeah.
I share the same views. So I will speak more from a personal
Okay.
perspective. So, having said everything that she has said,
Yeah.
for me, I chose to work with a safety measure.
Okay.
And when I say safety measure, what I mean is, like she has said, it's something I always thought about. Alcohol can inspire a lot of ungodly desires.
Yeah.
Right? It can end up pushing you to do certain things that on a normal day you wouldn't have done if you didn't take that alcohol,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So I asked myself, why put yourself in that position? I mean, rightly said, there's nowhere in the scripture that said alcohol is a sin.
Yes.
In fact, the only one I can remember is drink but don't get drunk.
Yes.
Right? So why should I put myself in this personal now?
Yeah.
Why should I put myself in a position where I'll start calculating, is one bottle okay? Is it when I get to 3 bottles that I'm crossing the line? Some people will say they know their level.
Their
Like they know
limits.
that by the time they get to this level they are. But do we need to, for me, I just feel like I don't need to. Do I have to drink it? If I don't drink alcohol, will I die? Is it something that I can't do without?
Yeah.
Do you get? So rather than put myself in that position of, okay, let me take small and let me be okay. And this is not saying anybody that's taking small is doing
Yeah.
anything wrong.
Yeah.
That's why I
Yeah.
said this is a personal thing,
yeah.
right? I just feel it's better for me to avoid it completely.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm also at a place where, from this year, I just noticed that I've lost interest because before now, at least if I see red wine somewhere, I can take a little bit, you understand, and I'm good. But now I don't even have the desire at all.
Yeah.
And then that brings me to something else. I also believe that as believers, most of us have apart from the general call to reconciliation of men to God, we all have specific callings upon our heads,
Yeah.
right? And sometimes certain callings that God will put on you would require a certain kind of what's that word now? A separation, a consecration. That's what I'm looking for. right? Sometimes God will consecrate you from certain things for a special assignment.
Okay, yeah.
Do you understand? So maybe your assignment has to do with something that requires you to maybe stay away. I know if you look at even if you go to the Old Testament and look at there are certain, I think Ecclesiastes or one of those books that they were giving them certain rules on things not to do and all that. Therefore, I know, yes, we are no longer in that dispensation, right? But I believe that God will take certain desires away from you. Do you understand?
Yeah.
For a particular assignment that you ought to do. Or he will give you instructions that keep away from this for this particular thing that I need you to do.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So in that instance, you may so I personally believe that there's something that God has for me that has made him, because all my life, the truth is that I think if me and you have had these conversations a couple of times, I found myself in positions to do bad things, but for some reason, somehow, I am able to escape it. Do you understand? I had all the opportunity to do all the worst things. Maybe highest, I will taste it a bit or I'll try and I'll say no. I don't just have desire for those things. So I just have a personal belief that God is consecrating me for a reason which I am still getting to understand. So yes, I believe that you can find yourself in that instance, right? So, but then on my own part, I just believe, for me, I'd rather just keep away from it.
Okay.
Than for me to be trying to take a little and say, well, 1 cup is okay, 5 bottles is okay. I'd rather I'm not trying to argue on what is right or what is wrong. If something has an element not to be safe, then let me just keep away from it.
Yeah.
This is my own personal approach, right? And this is not to say everybody has to adopt this, but this is what's working for me. So I've just decided to keep away from it. So as God has even helped me to take the desire away, I am even now being more intentional to stay away. I'm a lawyer, so I was at the NBA conference just like a month ago or so, and there was one of the evening parties or something like that they organized, and I walked into the place and I saw chilled bottles of beer. The bottles were sweating. Even though the desire has left me, it looked very attractive. I had to run out of that place.
Yeah.
Because I love the way God has taken that desire away from me, and I don't want to go back to it. Do you understand? So when I found myself in that position, I fled because I didn't want to be tempted into tasting any of those things. So yeah, for me, this is my take on alcohol.
Okay, so I think everybody's giving their personal experience, so I think I'll do that as well. For me, if they say someone's a drunk, I think it's my name you spell. My name and my surname. I love to drink so much, and I just woke up one day and I said I don't want to drink anymore. It's not as if I had a hangover before that day. I even hadn't drank maybe in like 2 weeks. But for some reason, I felt like what I was doing was bad. I don't think it was a religious thing. It just came out from nowhere. I just knew that, okay, I don't want to do this anymore. And that's how I stopped. So that desire now. So my question is this. The desire left. So if I see alcohol, I don't have the desire for it.
Yeah.
So if God is taking away that desire from us, that means there's something wrong about this thing called alcohol. Whether you take it in excess or whether you take a glass of wine. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Why is God taking away that desire if you can actually take a glass of, doctors will say a glass of wine is good for the heart. But if he's taking away that desire, even if someone can just take a glass, why is he taking away that desire if there's nothing wrong with the consumption of alcohol?
Okay. So,
sorry.
Yeah. To answer your question, did you used to take just a glass?
Nice one. No. But what of other people that take a glass?
Did they tell you God has taken away the desire? They are still taking a glass.
Oh. Nice one. Well said.
Like Simeon said, I know you. I've watched your growth. I would also say that God is probably consecrating you for something.
Yeah.
You understand? And, to add to what he had said, it just occurred to me that perception matters also. It depends on where I am. Yeah? It might be okay to have a glass of wine, but for the sake of the people there, I would not have a glass of wine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because of who they know I am, who they know I represent.
Yeah.
And these people, don't have the knowledge that I have, they don't have the level of revelation that I have, they probably still have the mentality of this is right, this is wrong. All right? And to me, my glass of wine is not wrong. To God, it's probably not wrong. I'm not doing anything wrong. But to them that look up to me, you know, to people I kind of, in quotes, represent God in their lives, I also don't want to send a wrong impression. I don't want them to get a wrong perception. I know there's a place in the Bible that talks about food that's been offered to idols, and says that you know nothing is wrong with it, but for the sake of your brother that doesn't know that nothing is wrong with it, don't eat it. All right. So I would also come from that angle. I personally don't drink anymore. Why? Like I said, I've lost the taste for it. Okay. I would also come from that angle of, even if you know that you know you're not addicted, you don't do this in excess. In fact, it's once in a while. You even like take a glass of wine. It doesn't mean much to you. But check your surroundings also. All right. You can be in a place like I'm in protocol team, which you all know. And people that I don't know me. All right, because of the work that I do in church. So imagine being somewhere in the secular world and somebody that sees me behind Pastor Ndidi all the time, you know, and knows, okay, this one is, and I have a bottle of wine on the table. You know, in the person's mind is, really? Okay, imagine seeing Pastor Andy somewhere with a bottle of wine. Just imagine that.
I can't.
Imagine that scene. So he knows. I can take a sip and nothing will happen. But for the sake of his sheep, he wouldn't take the sip. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
All right. And you know, the funny thing is the same religion that tries to condemn people for doing that. They do it more than even the unbelievers. I mean, it's in Pentecostal churches that I've seen Holy Communion as fruit juice. I came from Orthodox, and communion was not juice. It was wine. It was booze. You know, so for you, Ife, God took away that desire because you were not drinking just a glass. And then, have you met anybody that used to drink just a glass that told you that God has taken away the desire?
True.
I feel like, I hope you can get it well.
And to also respond to your question, the fact that God takes away a desire does not mean the thing is bad. So, but it could be for a particular discipline, you know, for a particular thing that he needs you to do. So he needs you to keep away from, not because the thing is bad, but for what he needs you to do, you need to leave that thing. Do you get? So if God takes the desire of alcohol from somebody, it does not mean alcohol is bad. That's not, that will not be a ground to say alcohol is bad. That's not the reason why he say leave it.
It could also be for your health.
There
can be something in your body that you don't know, but God has seen.
And
so he's like, okay, stop this now.
And then to also add to what she said, she is the same Paul that said all things are lawful, but not all things are beneficial or profitable. So the fact that he has the right to do something does not mean he will do it. Because if it's not beneficial, if it's not profitable,
I feel like saying drum roll, please, for the next person at this table. But I don't know if I should do it. So let's just raise our flags for SCD boy to give us his thoughts. SC, on to you.
Yeah, very interesting thoughts. Huh? Okay, so Ngozi was telling me what am I checking in the Bible. I was looking for that scripture. You just quoted. That's 1 Corinthians 6:12. Where Apostle Paul said, all things are lawful unto me. Things are expedient or needful or suitable. And of course, Paul was a man of many revelations. He wrote virtually most of the books in the New Testament. And he brought this gospel to us the way we understand it. You know? So Apostle Paul was sending a message. That I like what you've also said about the stand of a Christian for, you know, when it comes to alcohol. I wouldn't say it should be a stand of a Christian, but rather a Christian leader. So if you are leading people, you don't have to be a pastor, but in any capacity, like Ngozi, she's a leader.
I knew you must say this.
If you are leading people, there are certain things that you should. So you see, when you read, I think it's Titus, where Apostle Paul wrote to him and was telling him the characters, that is expected of bishops, of, pastors and things like that. So I don't think I really need to add anything to this conversation in terms of, because I like your understanding around alcohol, and then when it comes to sin. And the only thing I want to throw into sin, I hope it's not a deviation, is that when we come to the topic of sin, there is sin unto God. There is sin to your fellow man.
Okay.
There is sin to your body.
Okay.
There is sin to the state. For example, if you break rules, this is a lawyer sitting with us here, that's the sin to the state.
Okay.
To your fellow man, whether sibling, friend, even, there is sin even to your spouse.
Yes.
Because there are certain oaths that you have taken with your spouse, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, so when it comes to alcohol, we need to be able to see, this is a sin to what? Is it a sin unto God? Yeah. The answer has come from this table, no.
Okay.
Is it a sin unto man? No. So it's a sin unto your body. Because your liver, if you take too much of this alcohol, of course, you know what kind of work you are giving your liver. Your liver needs to take out all this, because what is in alcohol actually is ethanol. The ethanol there is not something that your body wants to retain. So it needs to always take it out and take it out. So imagine that you are overworking your liver. At some point, there are consequences for that. So it is expected that not just alcohol, anything we ingest, we have to do it in moderation. So you can't be addicted to anything. Even water. There are people that, you're supposed to take X liters of water a day. If you take too much, it's a problem also you are giving your body. If you don't take too much, you also give. So everything is in moderation. And I am aligned with everyone's understanding around alcohol. If I'm going to go personal, personally, I like my beer.
So would you say you take it in moderation? So you're good,
Yeah, I think I have a very good, will I say, background on this, because I grew up to meet my parents drink in absolute moderation. There was always, so if you open our fridge, you always have beer there in bottles, and then of course for visitors, and not just for visitors, if they are feeling like, that's why I said, and that bottle of beer may be there for a very long time, So my dad was not the type that he was addicted to coffee. He took coffee every day, every morning. Every morning he had his coffee until health issues came and he stopped. But when it came to alcohol, him and my mom, they would only drink once in a while, but there was always drink. There was always a whiskey, a Bacchus. The Bacchus one you used to take in your in the church. The Orthodox church.
Oh yeah. Okay,
that's true. Bacchus, that's the wine they used to.
Okay, but Essie, what do you say about alcohol inspiring wrongful desires? It's not just to the body. So, the drinking can make you do some kind things or think of some kind things. Where does that fall under for you? Sin unto God.
So that is an effect that alcohol can have on you. And of course, you can sin to your fellow man, you can sin to the state, and of course, you can also sin unto God.
So this thing has potato enter all the dimension of
Exactly, alcohol can actually send you into. I was going to ask him if drinking alcohol is sin to your body. So is it okay to sin against your body?
And the body is a temple of God.
Yeah.
The Spirit of God dwells in that body.
It's not okay to sin against your body.
Okay, so you also stand with the don't take it in excess.
Of course.
Don't take too much of it.
If you can, don't even take it.
Exactly. I was going to ask that.
If
you can avoid
don't.
Yeah, which is the.
Yeah, I like what Simeon said.
I'm standing with.
I like what Simeon said. Yeah. Just flee at the appearance of evil.
So we're to advise believers now. What would we tell them?
Yeah,
if they can avoid it.
Yeah.
If you can avoid it.
But if you have to take it,
there are certain knowledge.
Don't condemn yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't feel condemned.
Yeah.
If you have to,
take
it. And then I think that's if you can.
Okay.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
So
and God will help you. If you are in a position where you want to stop, or you want to reduce but you are struggling. If you trust God, there's grace. There's grace to stop, or there's grace to reduce.
Yeah. Because I think then when I was trying to stop, it was so hard for me. I never thought of God. I just I need to stop. I relapse. Over relapse was my problem. I'll say, I'll do it for 1 week. I'll be proud of myself. That Sunday, I'm like, after church, I'm just like, God, I need. But somehow I just said, when I said, okay, God, you know what? I don't want to do this thing anymore. And it just happened. I went from, God said, extreme, from one extreme to I don't do it anymore. I wasn't in between. I didn't struggle. It was, I drank, I don't drink anymore. Okay, guys. This is the one I want. I can't wait. Secular music. I need to hear what everybody has to say about secular music. Does everybody want to say what secular? See, please define it for them if they don't know what secular music is.
So I may have a different approach to it because of something I got to learn recently, right? I think whenever we're talking about secular music, what we're actually talking about is carnal music, not secular. Because national anthem is a secular song.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So secular is not a sin. The one that has problem is the carnal one.
Yeah.
The carnal one is music that inspires sin, or music that it has profanity, music that has sexual content or whatever, So then I think first of all, we need to understand that there's a difference between secular music and carnal music. And secular music, it's just like, okay, can you say that you will not do secular jobs? Your jobs are secular, or will you only do spiritual jobs? No. If you're going to have a job, your job is a secular job. So it's not a spiritual or godly thing you're doing in your office. It's a secular thing. But then there are carnal jobs as well.
Okay, see, what's secular? Let's start with that. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what he's trying to
That's what I'm trying to explain, right?
Okay.
Secular is just like things. Okay, let me say, can I call it, for lack of better expression, normal things that are not spiritual?
Or things outside the church.
Or things outside the church are secular things. Right? So, but I think whenever we're having this kind of discussion, what we are seeking to attack is carnal stuff, not secular stuff. Do you understand? Because there are a lot of secular things that, as believers, we ought to even do or sing, which is not a sin.
Yeah.
Do you understand? I just give a perfect example. National anthem is not a spiritual song.
Okay, so are we saying now that there are some songs that we can put under secular and there are some songs that we can put under carnal?
That's my take on it.
Do you agree as well?
I agree with him. Yeah.
Okay, so let's imagine everybody knows 112.
Yes,
right?
yes,
You know the boy band.
R&B.
The R&B singers, right?
Yes.
So would you say some songs that are just talking about, I love you, I can't wait to marry you one day and have kids with you, we'll put that under secular? Am I correct?
No.
Will you put it under carnal?
Now it depends. Okay.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say
yes.
now? Do you get it? So, yes, it seems like you want to say. Yes, please.
I think what he's trying to say is, because you may confuse people when you say carnal. Of course, carnal is coming out of, we use carnal a lot in the church because we are referring to the flesh.
Yes.
Okay. So I would say secular music that has profanities, like you said.
Okay.
Profanities. So, for example, this song, Sweet Mother, I no go forget, all right? That
it's not a gospel song.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's a very good music.
But there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of music I think anybody
it's not
should be able to vibe
a carnal
to.
music.
It's not a carnal music,
Okay.
but it's a secular music.
So my question is this, I understand what you're saying. Let's imagine we know the artist that sang the Sweet Mother.
Yeah.
And in her album, she has another song that is not Sweet
course.
Mother, but has some form of carnality in the music. Are you saying that if we're playing her album now, we should just put Sweet Mother on repeat and leave it? I'm of the opinion, the spirit, I'm of the opinion that, see that spirit when you were singing that Sweet Mother, is it the same spirit that was inspiring you to sing another carnal music? So for me personally, I'm not even listening to you. I don't know if I'm wrong. So I'm more of the spirit, because we've had this argument with other people. They said, look now, some people can sing some nice songs, wedding songs like I Can't Wait to Walk Down the Aisle. And I'm like, okay, fine, it sounds nice. But what of the previous songs? So are we doing it based on the lyrics of the song? Or we're doing it based on the spirit behind the inspiration for the song? I don't know if you guys get this question.
Yes.
So I need clarity on it.
Let me just come in there. Anyone can sing gospel music. The so-called secular musicians today, you can feature them in your gospel track and they will sing it equally with you.
I won't do
I'm
that.
coming. I'm just saying that they can sing that.
Yes,
they can be
yeah.
inspired on their own to sing inspirational music also, gospel music. I mean, the likes of M.I., he used to do that a lot in his albums. There will be one track that will be a gospel track.
Flavor too has one.
You understand? Okay? So, and the other day I saw a video of Zlatan. He was doing praise and worship. And you can tell that this guy most likely grew up from the church.
Okay.
Doing, singing, and then decided that this was what he wanted to do. So to me, music in itself is, of course, comes from sound. There's something around sound. Yeah. Sound is very, very inspirational. I mean, the word of God that we keep talking about, sound. Sound. It must have an effect on you.
Yeah.
So it draws something from you. That's why, for me, I've always been a beats. I like beats.
Okay.
The beats. I'm not a lyrics person. I wouldn't take my time to want to sing along. It was until I became born again and I started listening to gospel songs that I took interest in lyrics.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, it's a mood thing. It depends on my mood. Okay. There are some time I get into my car. I believe I'm an R&B person.
Okay.
I listen to a lot of R&B kind of music, But there are sometimes in my mood I want to listen to a rap music or listen to inspirational music and things. But it's a lot, and I agree with Simeon said something around the kind of inspiration music does to you, and that happens a lot when you pay attention to lyrics. I'm not excusing myself, but I'm telling you that if you listen to what if you are paying attention to what you are listening to, it must inspire something in you.
Yeah,
it must. I mean, the other day I was listening to a rap album. Those days when we were still in school, the people that were influencing us were American artists until our Nigerian artists came along.
Yeah.
So I have stopped keeping tabs with American artists. It's only those old ones that I still listen to. So I was listening to JC, and he was singing and he was saying something around that he's a hustler. He can sell water to an Eskimo, the ice to an Eskimo. I can do, so he was just trying to say, no matter where you throw me out, put me, I will come back. And I'm like, this is inspirational.
Okay.
It hit me in some, kind of way. Because I remember when I celebrated my 40th birthday, I was saying, what am I going to write? And I said something, I'm not afraid of tomorrow, and I'm trying to, you are saying those things to help yourself. That's how those guys get inspiration and they write and say one or two things. So, like I said, I'm not really into lyrics, but if you pay attention to lyrics, you must be inspired in some kind of way, whether negatively or positively. And that's why, as Christians, you should want to listen to gospel music, because you will want to listen to what you pay attention to what you are listening to.
Okay.
And it will affect you. You won't want to be in church, or maybe you are trying to worship, and the kind of songs that are ringing in your head.
Yeah. And that's why I think we should also, as believers, be careful where we get inspiration from. Not every inspiration is the right inspiration.
Yeah.
And in fact, I'll say something. What was one of the devil's greatest asset or skill when he was an angel? It was music. So one of the easiest ways that the devil can filter into you is through music.
Yeah.
Because music has the ability to affect or control your soul, your mind. It can affect your emotions. Do you understand? Why is it that whenever people feel heartbroken, they go to listen to songs that make them feel even more heartbroken?
I don't understand. I did that so much. I did it
Do you
so
understand?
much. Like,
You are looking for, that's your flesh.
Backstreet Boys. Why?
You understand? That's your flesh crying out to be thicker. Because you are going through, you are in a down moment. Instead of looking for something to pull you out of that down moment, you're looking for something that will make you sulk. Do you get? So for me, I will still apply the same personally. What I apply to my alcohol approach is the same with music. I am very careful with who I listen to. I'm very intentional about it. I'm also like you. I'm a music person. I even used to rap before. You understand? I'm big on beats. But something funny happened recently. There was one song, I can't really remember the song now. One song that was trending recently. The lyrics of that song is very, very vulgar. But a lot of people don't know. They are listening to the beat only because that's a very catchy beat. It's when you pay attention and listen to the song that you hear it's a very sexual song, right? So somebody that I know in church posted her picture or something with the song. Do you get on her status? When I saw it, and I private chatted her, have you taken a moment to listen to what they're saying in this song? She now tried to kind of get defensive, but she took it down. Do you understand? Because she didn't pay attention. It was just a popular song, and the beats. And that's what the devil is using right now. It's using catchy, sweet songs that you may not even really pay attention. So what happens is sometimes when you're listening to those kind of music, it's going into your subconscious. So you're not really catching it, but it's still entering. And it's going to have an adverse effect. Sometimes something you listen to today will not have effect on you until 1 week later. So you just 1 week later, you're having one kind of emotion or feeling coming. You don't know where it's coming from. You don't know it's something you listened to or watched a week ago and all that. So what I just do is I try to keep away from these carnal artists or secular artists or whatever. I try not to listen to them. Sometimes we get tempted. I'll be honest, just some days back, and this is what the devil does a lot, I was on YouTube and then Outkast. There's a popular rap group called Outkast. I used to be a huge fan of them. Do you understand? So I was watching something on YouTube and then an Outkast video was recommended and I couldn't resist it. I just pressed play. Before I knew it, I listened to like 5 Outkast songs. It took me back to 2003, 2002. That was when those songs were raining. That started reminding me of my secondary school days and all that. So but then some of those songs had a vulgar language in it. Do you understand? It had profanity, but that memory just took me back. So what am I saying? Sometimes these things can be very catchy. You get, and me, what I'm so happy, I feel like there's a new industry which I have heard is called Mindustry, right? Okay. So this is now gospel artists who are now doing all genres of music in gospel. So and Spotify has been a blessing to me. Because Spotify will not pay me for hailing them. Shout out. Do you understand? But I noticed that if I play a particular song on Spotify, it now gets me more those kind of songs, So if I play gospel rap, I now know so many gospel rappers that I never knew. And they have amazing songs. So I just realized, I was even telling Ify recently, I realized I don't even need to listen to secular music anymore because if it's rap, I have it in gospel. If it is rock, I have it in gospel. Even R&B now, they now have gospel R&B. So now we don't have to worry about the spirit behind some of these guys, especially. And now coming to what both of you said earlier, you have spoken about the spirit behind the person, right? I feel like if you are intentional enough, before you start loving an artist or a song, you will do a background check on that person. Google can tell you a lot about somebody. So if you see an artist and you do a background check, like who is this artist, what's this person about? If you look at one or two things, you know whether this person, even though we may not know, people pretend though. But of course, as believers, we also have a spirit of discernment. So discernment will come in there. So all I'm saying is this: be very intentional about what you listen to and be careful what you let into your soul. Be careful what you listen to and what you watch, because your eyes and your ears, they are the windows to your heart. Do you understand? So what you listen to can affect you adversely. So for me, every once in a while there will be that temptation to listen to some of those secular music, but I have decided to keep away from them because I now realize that there's an industry called Mindustry, which is ministers in industry, gospel ministers so they are creating their own industry and they are giving the world a run for their money because, like, a shout out to Prince Emmanuel. The kind of music that guy has been churning out, we don't even need to listen to all this secular, all this rubbish, Nigerian music, and we say a lot of rubbish because his beats are good. You know, he has party tracks. You know, with Prince Emmanuel alone, I don't need to play secular music in my wedding. I can just play Prince Emmanuel and I'll have enough to get people to dance and all that. So that's my own personal take on this thing.
No,
I just
not heard you
keep
speak,
away
so
from.
I need to know your take.
Okay, so I used to be like Asang. You know, I used to feel like nothing wrong with it. I listen to any music. I'm a music person too. Like I do chores with music. I cook with music. I like that. Even driving, when I don't, I'm playing on my phone. So I used to be like Asang. I used to think like that. I used to be like, it doesn't matter. It's just music. It's the beat I'm enjoying, not the lyrics. But you know what? Faith comes by hearing and hearing. Fear also comes by hearing and hearing. Sexual desires also come by hearing and hearing. How did you get your wife to love you? You talked her into you. Do you understand?
Yeah.
You toasted her. She heard you and heard you. Remember the story Pastor told us how he bombarded Pastor Ndidi with cards and gifts.
Yeah.
Those cards said things. She read them. After each one, she fell a little deeper. After each one, she fell a little deeper. You understand? I grew, you know, especially listening to Pastor Andy and when he talks about these things. Like you said, Satan is very intentional about these things. You cannot, there's no such thing as passivity when it comes to this matter. I know of a story, I think it was Kenneth Hagin's son. I'm not sure, a prominent minister that used to be under the table when he was very little. He used to be under the table where they're having meetings, you know, and sleeping, or sometimes they're awake, sometimes they're playing. And then later, after he grew up, when he started repeating the things they were talking about in those meetings, he wasn't actively listening. But like Simeon said, these things have a way of finding their way in and staying.
Yeah.
So I am of the opinion that I don't listen to secular music anymore. I don't know the artist. I don't know who is trending and who is not trending. In fact, it's gospel music I listen to. I like I said, I don't agree with that. If you're listening to only beats, it doesn't matter. You are never listening to only beats.
Yeah.
You think you are listening to only beats. And trust me, I think that is what Satan uses. They like beats. So give them beats, but let the lyrics be there. And the lyrics are entering, but one day you find yourself singing along. And you didn't realize you knew the lyrics of this song. It's when you hear it elsewhere, you repeat something, and you didn't realize, I've listened to this thing so much that I now know it. I remember Pastor talked about one day how he was, just put on the radio carelessly, and I go, the next thing he
started bumping.
And the person did ask him, Andy. These things are designed to take you unawares. They are designed to just creep in. So I strongly believe, I agree with Ify when she says, what is the inspiration? I totally agree.
Yeah.
What is the spirit that inspired this?
Yeah.
I give you an example. Either Yanni or Enya, one of them. I can't remember which one. I later got to learn
It should be Enya.
is an devil worshiper, be atheist, or one of those crazy things. I loved the song. Enya hardly has lyrics, so it's just sound.
Yeah.
It's just sound. When I was single, those days, I loved it. I would play it high volume. I knew all Yannis, all those. But growing up spiritually, when I started hearing which spirit inspires the sound, what is the spirit? Because the truth is, when sound is being transmitted, the spirit behind that sound is also transmitted. That is why during a praise and worship session, you find yourself on the floor crying. Because the spirit behind that sound is also transmitted. The same way with carnal music, because I would agree that there's like national anthem is secular, but it's not actually bad. Carnal music, the same spirit that inspired that music is being transmitted when you're listening to it. Try playing one of those. I will use maybe those DMX then way back, the violent songs. Play it on repeat in your house for 1 week. I tell you, the atmosphere in your house can never be the same. Why does that? Think about it. Use worship, for example. 360 is doing special ministration and people are on the floor crying. Why? Because the spirit that inspired that sound is also being transmitted. Nathan Abasi has talked about this, I think last year or 2 years, conference 2 years ago. And I realized this song, Emmanuel, he said he got it from a place of prayer. Every time I listen to Emmanuel, involuntarily I start to pray in tongues. Check it. Play Emmanuel. Every time. And what it used to happen to me. So I pray with that song. That's actually the song I pray with every morning before Mixlr started. That's the song I pray with. So when he said it, I was like, oh, now I understand why I pray with this song. Every time. The spirit that inspired the song, the sound, because it mustn't be lyrics, even the beat, the sound, a spirit is being transmitted. A spirit, and that is why the carnal music, a spirit inspired it. And that spirit is what is being transmitted whenever that music is played. You might not realize it immediately, but the atmosphere in your house or in your space is being affected. The atmosphere in your mind is being affected. And it will just continuously. And you know how Satan is deceitful. Like, come on, he will never come in your face because he knows you will say no. So he will creep in slowly. And he's a master at this. He will creep in slowly, and we keep justifying these things. And he knows that these people will justify this with this. And so he would. So I totally agree with what is the spirit behind it. What is the spirit that inspired it? Because this Enya I told you, it's not, to me, it's not, she doesn't say anything carnal. In the few ones that have words, maybe 3 words. Sail away, sail away, sail away. There's no, do you understand?
And then come think of it, sail away, sail away.
Where am I sailing to? Do you understand? And I played this song so much. And guess what? Those days when I was single, played these songs a lot in my house. And those were the days they used to press me at night. Those were, I was pressed. They pressed me till I woke up. Till I got knowledge. Those were the days they used to press me at night. Those were the days I used to have, crazy thoughts. I used to have crazy thoughts. You find yourself thinking, and you don't know where did this thing come from. Why am I? You don't know where it's coming from. It's when you're about to pray, or in church, pastor is preaching, your mind goes somewhere, and you ask yourself, how? How did my mind go to this place? You'll be feeding your mind that thing without knowing. Like he said, the eyes, the ears, they're the windows to the soul. The same way faith comes by hearing and hearing, every other thing also comes by hearing and hearing. So what you hear it matters a lot. This, I like I said, I was of the opinion of it doesn't matter. My wedding song, song I entered with, it didn't say anything bad. It wasn't a carnal song. They didn't say anything. But thinking about it now, I never checked out the artist. I never checked out his other songs. I never checked out what's inspired, to get a sense of what inspires this guy. All right? I never checked them out. So I just thought about I was calling it is a song, it's okay to play. But I never actually did my homework. I don't even remember the person's name. I heard it in a movie, one of those wedding movies, and then I listened to all the lyrics.
More than Ed Sheeran. Are you sure it's not Ed Sheeran?
I think it was Gavin, something or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, okay, I remember.
My wedding song.
I actually said I was going to use that same song.
Yeah.
I liked it so much. I wanted it.
They didn't say anything. It was just a really nice. But thinking about it now, I never did my homework to actually find out what inspires this guy. So that is something we need to be very intentional about. The music you listen to, what inspired this music? The music might sound great. The sound might be awesome. That is why because of where you've grown to, you have a discerning spirit. That's why you enter even some churches and you cannot connect. Because the spirit behind that church is wrong. You understand? You cannot connect. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. The same way a worship song can move your spirit so much. That's the same way one of these songs will move you without you knowing. Without you. After all, you don't go to church planning today I'm going to lie down. You don't, today I'm going to cry. Today I'm going to lie down. It just, you're worshiping and somehow you're just carried into, that spirit. And this is the right to the spirit of God. And so when that spirit is transmitted, what you want, your own spirit, the involuntary reaction is to bow before that spirit. The involuntary action is to worship, is to, submit, surrender to that spirit. You understand? And because you're born again, so your spirit connects with that spirit that is transmitted through that worship song that is coming forth. But you see this, I don't listen to secular music. I have some of them on my phone because I've had music I've had for way back. I don't play them. In fact, I don't even use my normal music now. I play from YouTube music. Yeah. So if you open my YouTube music, all they suggest for me now is just gospel songs. Because they know that's all I search for. Yeah. That's all I listen to. So I'm of the opinion, believers, you should be very intentional. Yeah. What abstain? This one is not. I don't even use my own standing when it comes to alcohol. It's not, this one, it's not a sin. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. It's not a sin. But for your safety. Because this one is...
You can open yourself up to anything.
Up to anything. Up to anything. It's kind of like, how Pastor talks about when you have several sexual partners. Every time you have sex with someone, there's a transmission. There's a transmission. It's the same thing. Every time you open your soul to this sound, there's a transmission. Yeah. You might not be aware. Sometimes it bypasses your body. So you don't know. It just goes straight and it will stay there and wait for you and be building up. One day, I tell you, that lyrics you think you're being passive about, you will find yourself saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You will find...
And do you know something? You see this Jay-Z you're talking about? Do you know that Jay-Z is angry with God? Are you aware? Yes, I will tell
so that's the research that he hasn't done.
You can go and check this out after this conversation. Jay-Z has a beef with this whole Jesus or godly whatever because his grandfather was a priest and the grandfather raped a minor or did something terrible to something like that, a sexual offense. So since then, because of what his grandfather did, he just hates, he doesn't believe in all these Christians, that thing scarred him. So I've listened to something like a documentary that they were analyzing some of his lyrics. If you hear the things that Jay-Z says about God in his lyrics, it's not somebody you should be listening to. The spirit behind Jay-Z is not a good spirit.
At all.
And if you want to do your research on it, go and do. You will see it. The guy is angry with God, so he doesn't say anything to glorify God. He only says, that's why he calls himself Hova now. Hov, like he's calling himself God or something. Do you understand? The whole thing is a short form for Jehovah now.
Yeah.
That's where Hov comes from. Yeah, Jehovah.
Really?
So he calls himself
I didn't know this.
Yeah.
That's where it comes from. So...
Let's see how much of a God he is now.
Because I've had fellow believers, because I told them, I said, there's not going to be, whether you call it secular, you call it carnal, any form of those kind of music at my wedding. Believers are telling me that my own is too much. Believers, they're telling me my own is too much. That really,
for me,
let's have fun. And
my wedding is a very spiritual activity to me. So I'm going to be very intentional about the things that will happen on my wedding day. Because people focus on the ceremony. Me, I'm focusing on the spirituality of that day. You understand? That's the day that two souls are being solemnized. Do you understand? Even though I know it's the deed that confirms everything.
Hey!
You understand? So, but it's also a spiritual activity. Yeah. So I have to be very careful on the day that we're making those declarations. What are the spirits that are flying around? Do you understand? That one is another talk for another day, because the things, how I intend to go about my wedding when it comes, it's not going to be the usual style. Like to just say one out of it, I'm not going to do anything like bachelor's night or whatever. Rather, I'm going to get my brothers and let's pray.
Yeah. That
night, because I'm about to step into something. Do you understand? So what I ought to be doing that night is preparing myself, because a lot of things can even go wrong. That between that day and the next day. So it was something I did for a friend of mine, and he appreciated it so much.
Yeah.
He invited me for his wedding. I traveled all the way to Gombe. This was about 2 years ago. And then out of all his friends, nobody was available to pray with him. I was the only person there who he trusted enough to pray with. Do you understand? So, I was there. We prayed all night, me, him, one other pastor. even before the wedding in the morning, he still called me. We were praying in tongues and all that, and he was so happy that I came. So because a lot of people didn't want me to travel for that wedding because it was that time when insecurity was really hot, people were not traveling. But I insisted on going for that wedding. When I went there, I realized why I had to be there. Because that guy needed somebody to intercede with him and to pray with him. Do you get? So that's talk for another day.
So we're saying now that for alcohol, we cannot say abstain from it, right? If you can. We would advise people to abstain.
We are saying
alcohol.
abstain if you can. Keep away from
right?
it.
Yeah.
It's safer that way.
What are you saying?
You are safer when you keep away from it.
What are you telling believers?
And he was one that said, like,
you can, right?
Yeah, because there are certain knowledge that come to you that you can't take away from you.
Yes.
It has entered.
Secular means we're saying, no, don't do it.
It's like you agree with
It's not. You're not telling them no, they should not do it.
No, I'm not.
He's not in agreement.
My stand is that as Christians, we should always walk in the Spirit. But we don't always walk in the Spirit. You may say you always walk in the Spirit, that's left to you. But I know I don't always walk in the Spirit. So I said, for me, it's a mood thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes this is the mood I want to listen to inspirational music, I put it on. Sometimes my mood is that I want to listen to secular music and I put it on. And I was the same person that said that, look, music is from sound. So I know the effect that sound can have to us because we are spirit beings, right? So I totally understand.
the advice I will give on this thing you just said.
All right.
The advice I'll give on this thing you just said is a different thing for you to fall into it, and it's a different thing for you to choose it. I don't think anybody should be choosing to do it. It's a different thing if, like, you just found yourself helpless somehow.
You turned on your radio.
You turned on your radio. You started listening to. Than for you to say no, actively I feel like listening to this kind of music right now, so I'm going to listen to it. I don't think.
It's like saying, I feel like leaving my family for now and being with these other people.
So like what you just said.
Like I feel like living light and going to
like what you just said now, you said we are to always walk in the Spirit, but we don't always walk in the Spirit. Those times we don't walk in the Spirit, it's not that we are choosing not to walk in the Spirit. It's just that like we are in the world, so sometimes our flesh, sometimes you're weak. So it shouldn't be that I will choose no, today I will walk in the Spirit. Tomorrow I want to walk in the flesh.
Our advice for people that, like you said, you like beats, you like sound. Why not check out what Simeon talked about?
I can hook you up. Yes,
me, I'm not particular.
I can give you correct
I like
music.
Chioma Jesus.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm good with Chioma Jesus. I can listen to Chioma Jesus.
I'm very R&B, like there's some slow
I can do
and then
Chioma
I think
Jesus.
you do that too now. Like you draw up.
I do. So I did
Yes.
like wedding songs, right? But I'm going to do more, and I'm going to send it to you, the boy.
So I think maybe check
different
out
genres
the
of
one that
songs.
Simeon talked about.
Yeah.
You might actually find all those beats that you like.
No,
but
he
with the
has
right
some
spirit.
kind beats. Sometimes
I will
attack
send you a
him.
playlist to check
There's
out.
a time I was in his car, he played a song, I'm like, what are you playing? He was like, don't worry, relax, it's Christian songs.
That guy that came to our church,
Great man.
Great man.
Yeah.
Did you like him?
I'm a huge fan
I
of
have
him.
his songs on my phone.
Yeah.
Very soon he will replace Jay-Z.
So exactly, I think try out, because what you are looking for is that beat that you like. You understand? That beat that you like. And the truth is, I wouldn't fault you because for a long time, the body of Christ wasn't actually doing that.
Yes.
Which is what Dr. Foy kept on talking about.
Yeah.
Was so we were so confined in this our old mindset, religious mindset that we allowed the world to kind of infiltrate everything that we should have. And that's why they're dragging our children with us. That's why they're dragging, because our children want what they have. Meanwhile, we should have had that. But with the right spirit now, with the right inspiration, same beat. Same beat, but then this one has a right
because
inspiration.
the skills come from God, but it's just the world is counterfeiting
the
it.
talent these people have.
But the original talent is from God.
The original talent came from God.
True.
It's just that Satan now.
Where are we? Are we in the world? Where are we?
We're dominating the world.
We're in the world, but we're not
Off the world.
Yeah.
But we are in the world.
Yes, we're in the world.
So that's why we are taking dominion of the world, which was the God's first instruction.
When I hear people talk about that the world is dominating, where would world dominate? In heaven? They will not dominate in heaven. Anything they can do, they'll do it here.
We are supposed to.
Let them do whatever they are doing.
So what we're saying,
and we have our own life that we are trying to live here.
What we're
and we
saying,
are trying to dominate here.
We're supposed to dominate. You understand? We're supposed to dominate. We're supposed to be the trend setters. There's no Satan doesn't have the power to give anybody talent. So no talent came from Satan. Yeah. So everybody that sings, this was talent that was infused into them by God. Yeah. Because what? He knew us before we were formed in our mother's wombs. Yeah. So he's the one that deposited to you, take this, to you, take this, to you, take this. But then, these people grew up without the knowledge of the God that gave them this talent. And though Satan was able to manipulate that talent and use it for his own means, our job is to take back what belongs to us. It originally, God created the earth, not for Satan, but for us, for Adam and Eve. To, what did he tell them? Be fruitful, multiply, fill the earth. But then, what happened? Adam fell. You understand? Adam fell, so this happened. That's why all these things happened, because Adam fell. Then Jesus came to reconcile us back. So, God could have chosen to close this chapter and start another one. Do you understand? But he didn't. Reconciliation. So, some people are reconciled, some people are not. That's the truth. But the world actually belongs to us. So we are supposed to set the standard. So when we say we are in the world, but not of the world. And what are we supposed to do in the world? Set the standard. Change the world standard is not the original standard. We're supposed to bring the world back to original plan. Like landlord is doing now, that he wants to bring Abuja back to original plan. You understand?
And that's why he's scattering something.
That's why he's scattering. So we're actually supposed to. Why are we still here now? Why wouldn't you just go to heaven after we got saved? The whole idea is go and change this thing, but this is my original plan. Put it back the way this my plan is. That's what God has sent us to do. So we're supposed to set the trend, set the pace. That's why I said I'm glad that Christians are waking up now and knowing that a bit that is do. It's not devilish. It's not bad. No, there's no talent. There's no technology that came from hell. Every technology came from God. It's just that Satan found a way to steal and manipulate it to counterfeit it to achieve his own goals. So if we're not, this saying we're in the world but not of the world. Yes, we're here. We're in the world. That's why they will always say you are salt. And you're supposed to go in and salt the earth. You're supposed to go in and flavor. What does salt do? You change the whole flavor now. So that's our job, to change the flavor of the world. And I'm glad, I didn't even know, when someone said, those beats here, I started saying, we had that type of beats. No. If it's not ancient and modern, if we're not singing it like that, no. If we're not crying, well, then it's not holy. Do you get? But I'm glad we're waking up to understand that we don't have to be lying on the floor and rolling before it was inspired by the Holy Spirit. Dancing is inspired by the Holy Spirit. So a godly song that makes you dance is not the wrong spirit. You understand? Heaven is a happy place. I can't wait. Sometimes I keep saying, I say, Jesus, come now so you can surprise these people. Honestly, I think like that. I say, Jesus, come.
I think you'll be a stuck-up person.
Just come, because I want to see the looks on their faces when they realize it was not what they were thinking. Heaven is noisy. When they do like shouting, they're worshiping 247. Heaven is loud.
They're not whispering.
They're not whispering. They're saying, when he said that the holy, they're saying it's not holy, holy. They'll say, holy. Hey, holy. You understand? It's true, because they see a new dimension every time. They come around, they see something, they've not seen this one before. So I think, it's religion that put us in this position. And I'm glad that we're waking up. And we're adjusting, I'm seeing gospel artists that it's not the normal. We had Nathaniel Bassey's. We have them. They have their, he has assignments. We have the Dunsins.
That's where the consecration talk comes in.
Exactly. He has his assignments. You understand? We have the great man. He has his own assignments too. I once told somebody there are people that Pastor Ikechukwu can reach that Pastor Andy will never be able to reach. It's simple. There are people that Nathaniel Bassey can never reach, and great man can reach them. So I believe God, when he says God loves all of us equally, he doesn't love Nathaniel Bassey more than
Yeah.
You know? So that the Bible is for the people that he will be able to reach. Great man is also for the people that there's some people that if it's not rap, they will not listen.
Yeah.
So why not do the music gospel rap so that what they're listening to can inspire them?
Can edify them.
Yeah, can edify them. So my advice to someone you say you like is what you want is the beat. Actually, because the truth is you're born again, your nature is the nature of God. So you don't actually want that song. You don't want the lyrics. You don't want what it is saying. What you want is the beat. And we're telling you can get the beat without the bad spirits.
Yeah.
I'll actually draw up like different genres of songs, like so that people can, if they want rap, I give them the artists that sing rap. The ones that want R&B, I have a lot of artists that are R&B gospel singers that I love so much. So yeah. Oh my God, 1 hour 5 minutes. I'm so sorry, you guys. I'm so sorry. Thank you. But I'm sure. This was so fun. Like I can't wait. I really enjoy this. I can't wait. No. I feel a lot of people are going to have learned from this. So thank you guys. I'm so grateful. Like you don't even know. I feel so emotional right now.
If you're emotional,
I'm not lying.
Wow.
I'm so grateful that you guys agreed to do this for me. Esther told me no first too. I had to pray one kind of prayer like this. He now said, okay, no problem. I had to convince Esther. Esther said, I don't want to hear his view. I said, no, that's why I want you here.
This man is a man of God, but
He's
he just likes to.
He wants to be coming.
He hears the Holy Spirit.
No.
For the fact that you pray, the Holy Spirit has said, my son, come now. Sometimes I try to imagine God and Esther the way that God will say, this young guy, come. Oh, yeah, come now. I feel like that's how they.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.
Peace out.